Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to super serve anybody who is single, 50 plus, and looking for a meaningful personal relationship. Now, we've talked with this wonderful woman before about your dreams. She's a dream builder's coach, but she's also a certified relationship coach. And if you're single and 50 plus, part of your dream could be finding that right person. Maybe you've been going through a bunch of dating apps. You've maybe gone on some dates, hasn't really panned out for you. Let's dig deeper into that. And she helps people with that all the time. Dreams in general, no matter what they are, but your dream relationship. And Kristina Smith is back with us to talk about that today. How you doing?
Steve, I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm happy to have learned recently that you are a relationship coach. Yes. I had no idea. You're amazing on the dream building side. But this all kind of like works together. You know, it is a dream. If you find yourself single and 50 plus, maybe you've been married before, things didn't work out, whatever it might be. Would you say for somebody in that age category and that situation, it's tougher now than ever to find a meaningful relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so important for people to really invest in their own development. What I mean by that is, it's just like, I like working out and I go to the gym periodically. And for the longest time, I was doing my exercises, but not really getting my results. So I finally said, let me hire a personal trainer. And my results skyrocketed because he was able to look at me and tell me what I'm doing right, what I need to adjust slightly, and what I radically need to do differently. So relationships are or can be somewhat complicated, but we can simplify it. There's so many things we can do to make it very simple and start to address some of the things that we're carrying around. You know, by the time we become an adult, we have a narrative in our own head about who we are. And let's say in a past relationship, things didn't go as planned. And sometimes people carry guilt and frustration, and they don't realize that guilt and frustration is now impinging on the potential for a productive, happy, fulfilling relationship. So that's, part of what I work on is how do we clear out that stuff so that you're not attracting the same kind of person that you had before.
Yeah. How many times have we all heard that or said it? If like a woman might say, I don't know what it is. Are there any nice guys left in this world?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, there are. Yes, there is right here. Because the same guys keep showing up and I don't know what it is. I am, and maybe the next thing that person might say is, I don't know why I keep attracting them, but there's a reason.
Yes.
That she is.
Yes. And that's what we want to work on. What is it that I need to do? See, we're always looking for somebody else to change. It's always easier to just blame someone else for something that's not working right. But once we realize we can really leverage the power of our own brain. We can absolutely make in some cases, very minor adjustments and have radically different results.
Totally.
I want to share this with you, Steve. It's really interesting. Many years ago, I started reading books that were very impactful on the way I thought about myself as a human being. And I had a colleague who we were reading the same books at the same time, and she got it much faster than I did. And one of the things she would reflect back to me is how I talked. I would always talk about what I didn't want. And she would always interrupt me and say, you just told me what you don't want. What do you want? And I did not realize my brain was conditioned to focus on what I didn't want. And I didn't even hear it. So that's why working with someone else is very powerful because they can reflect back to you what you just said. And sometimes you don't even realize that came out of your mouth.
So is it true that if you continually talk about what you don't want, you can be or are telling your subconscious that, but it doesn't know the difference? So it
Exactly.
hears these words. Like, example, we'll go back to the woman can't find any nice guys out there. Listen, Christina, I don't want a guy that doesn't have a job. I don't want the deadbeat. And they keep showing up. I don't want to have that again. Well, you're telling your subconscious those words, don't want, it doesn't hear don't want. It
Right.
hears man, no job, has issues, et cetera, et cetera. So now it's wiring you to do
Yes,
whatever you can to attract that to you because
absolutely.
subconscious kind of dumb. It just
Yeah,
wants it's like a dog, like, okay, what can I do for you? Oh, it doesn't know
right.
the good and the bad. Does that
Absolutely.
sound reasonable?
That's absolutely, you're right on. You're spot on.
Hmm.
You're spot on. And
I've
so,
uh, I've
and,
seen it
and so,
happen.
yeah, yeah, I see it happen all the time, and people are bewildered because they are so, intense about what they don't want. And so
Hmm.
we shift that. We make that shift because where our attention goes, that's where energy flows. That's where we create. We are creating that which shows up in our life. When I
Essentially
came to that,
manifesting.
yeah, when I came to that realization, and
Hmm.
actually it's slightly different. We talked about that before, the word manifesting. It's slightly different. I've said this many times. Einstein said, everything is energy. And this is not philosophical. This is science. This is physics.
Hmm.
Everything is vibrating, even if we can't see it. A desk that I'm sitting at is vibrating. Um, so, in order to bring into our existence the person of our dreams, we have to vibrate at a different level. We have to get on the same vibrational level as what we want to attract.
Easier said than done. Part of that I would
True.
assume is doing the work on yourself,
Hmm.
but changing your mindset. And I want to share this example because it came up this week and it doesn't have anything to do with relationships, but it does have something to do with changing your mindset.
Hmm.
So I've always been afraid of needles. Like I've had a blood test coming up, just a routine test. I changed the date. Let me go next week. And then I wait till next week comes along. It's like, yeah. And then when I had to go after a while of changing dates, I would just, be worried and everything. I changed my mindset to say, you're going to get information that's for you. You're doing something for you. It's a
Hmm.
good thing. You might not get exactly what you wanted to hear, but now you can address it and all of that. Now, and I'm talking, this is in the last year.
Yeah. I believe you. I believe you. I know
Doesn't
people
doesn't
to
bother me
this
at
day. Yeah.
all. In fact, I'm like, here you go. Here's my arm. Do whatever you got to do. Oh, you got to stick needles in me? Ah, no problem. Whatever. I don't even, doesn't even phase me anymore. And I even spoke with a doctor and he goes, what happened? What'd you do? I'm like, mindset. I just
Yeah.
changed the way I viewed it. And maybe
Hmm.
that works for somebody else in terms of viewing uh, what they're looking for in a partner or how they approach the whole situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key is starting um, having a macro dream, like a big dream. Have a big dream, but doing small steps, taking small steps, and then celebrating those small steps. Because what happens is this: gratitude. We
Mm.
talked about things vibrating. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies that you can uh, emote. And when we do that, we actually bring into our existence more things to be grateful for. And so those things begin to add up and they begin to, like, if we're at a low level vibrationally right now, but we want to get to this higher level, if we take small steps, just being grateful. Oprah and lots of other people have said every day they write down three things that they're grateful for. it is so powerful. It sounds like such a small, minute thing to do, but it's really powerful, and it increases your vibrational level. And it really does help you get to where you want to go quicker, much
Yeah.
quicker.
I keep a gratitude journal.
Yes.
Wrote 3 things down last night before I went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I might add that when you write them down, tell how they feel. Like we can all
Yes.
say, I'm grateful for this. And it's okay to write. I'm grateful for this
Yeah.
cup of coffee. I have this coffee
Yes.
every day. It
Yeah.
makes me feel good. It's my
Mm-hmm.
little treat, no caffeine in it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need it to, start my day and get all jacked up. I just love it. So I've had a little cup of
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's a treat for myself. It makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful to the people that grow it. I'm grateful to the barista. Whatever it might be. Um, but it's been said, just I've heard the
Yeah.
same thing you just said, that when you're grateful for things, the universe listens and wants to give you more things to be grateful for.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's it's a small thing, but
Yeah.
it's huge. It's huge.
So we're talking about relationships, people who are, looking for their partner.
Mm-hmm.
How do we apply that, the being grateful? How does that apply to finding that perfect person in your life?
You know, I think like if I were sitting with a person who just asked that question and we wanted to do an exercise, I would have that person think about relationships from the past and something that they were grateful for. Even if the relationship didn't turn out what they
Hmm.
wanted, what did you learn? Can you appreciate the fact that that person came into your life and you learned something? Maybe even it's, I learned I don't want to be in another relationship like that. You can be grateful that you had that experience
Hmm.
so that you've now begun to become even clearer about what you want. So it's a
Hmm.
really small thing again, but all of that is really important. Somebody compliments you. Sometimes people compliment me on my hair or my nails or whatever, and it's like I'm really grateful. Sometimes men stop me in the store and said, You look really nice. Your hair looks nice." It's like I'm grateful for that. I don't take it for granted. I don't care how many times that happens. I don't take it for granted. I feel sincerely appreciative. I feel humbled that someone noticed. And
Hmm.
that makes your life expand a lot. It's incredible.
Isn't it sad in our society that we're afraid to even pay compliments? Like, even if you go back to the coffee thing, you're at a Starbucks,
Mhm.
and even just to say that you made this really good today. I don't know what you did, but it tastes great. Love
Yeah.
your hair. Like, your hair
Yeah.
fits your face, whatever it might be. We think it, but a lot of times we hit the pause button because, well, they're going to think I'm creepy and all of that. It's a shame.
Steve, I get it. I get it because you're right. It's odd the way some people are in the world
Yeah.
today. However, that doesn't have anything to do with me. That's on them.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's on them. Literally, I get up every morning, and as I'm being reflective about the day that I am going to create, that I'm going to create, part of my prayer is I really want to be a better human being today than I was yesterday. That's one thing. The second thing I say is, who can I lift up today in some
Hmm.
small way? I remember one time I was going to have an MRI. I had back surgery not that long ago, and I was going to go get this MRI. And the woman who was taking me back to get the MRI was in such a funky mood. And I thought, not on my watch. And so I looked at her and I says, "Oh my gosh, your nails look fabulous." Her face lit up. Like you would have thought I just said you won $1 million. She just
Wow.
lit up. And so I said, "Did you do them yourself or did you?" And I got it. And I meant it sincerely. I wasn't just, making this up. I really meant it. But it lifted her spirits up so much that when I got on the MRI bed, she said, "Would you like a warm blanket?" And I said, "That would be so lovely. Thank you. That's so kind of you."
Wow.
By the time I left, she was floating on cloud nine. And I just thought it didn't cost me a dime. It just was paying attention. We're so isolated,
Yeah.
Steve, today. We're so isolated and everybody's got their own struggles. And lifting people up is just a very kind thing to do.
I billion% agree. And even to your point right there, I went for some ultrasound imaging yesterday, just some
Mm,
stuff, nothing
mhm.
major. Um, and they had to stick some needles in or whatever. And when it was all done, I shook the hand of the doctor and said, thank you very much, and that was it. And I held his hand a second longer, like like you pull your hand back. I
Yeah.
held it. I'm like, thank you for being gentle,
Hmm.
and that was it. He's
Hmm.
like, oh, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Like I'm sure people
Yes.
don't even say that to them, you know.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Exactly.
I want to go back to single and looking for somebody.
Hmm.
This would apply to anybody, but we are focusing on 50 plus today.
Sure.
Do you feel that you really should do some soul searching and look at your parents, not even just their relationship, but also that can be impactful, but
Hmm.
their personalities and how that governs the way you act and feel. I'm learning more and more in my journey. There's lots of answers right there.
Oh, Steve, let me tell you, when I was going through my training as a relationship coach, we had to do a lot of reading by a gentleman whose name is Gay Hendricks. And he is and his wife have studied relationships over the last 50 years.
Mm,
And his teachings are amazing. And one of the things he said is exactly what you just said, which is oftentimes we attract subconsciously, purposefully, a person who we had the most conflict in our parental upbringing. So, or the
mhm,
parent that caused us the most drama. So let's say it's a daughter who had a lot of conflict with her father.
mm.
Unconsciously, she's trying to attract someone that's like her father for the purpose of trying to remedy that which caused harm in their relationship.
You just gave up the secret sauce,
Yeah,
in my opinion, in
yeah.
terms of, and I lived it and I see it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to cut you off, but I'm gonna give credence to what you just said. A relationship I was in many years ago. This is me. I'm chill. I'm just relaxed. Like people say you don't like confrontation. No, you work it out. You figure it out. It's all good. She always would try to push a button and
Mm-hmm.
engage to like even into a fight in this relationship. And I was like, no, there's no reason for that. And then I did some thinking, and then it occurred to me that she had said that her father was abusive
Mm.
to not only her, but also her mother. And in my thinking, oh, okay, that's what she's comfortable with. She wants to
Right,
go back to it
right,
and
right.
have it's just a confrontation over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that's what it was. That was the reason for it.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. This, and even children who are abused, subconsciously, they believe that their parent loves them. And so this is all subconscious. This must be how I express love, is being in conflict, being abusive,
Mm,
because they've tied this to their parent and they believe their
wow.
parent loves them. And so now this is how it shows up.
And they
And it's
don't even know they're doing it.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Because it's
It's
coming from
really,
the subconscious. And
yes.
even to your point, I know somebody, and I'll laser this down. Somebody got divorced, and I know the family, know the dynamics. Her father left abruptly out of nowhere when she was like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to the last couple of years, she left the relationship,
Mm,
and I know the man well, and just out of nowhere, that's it. And he
mm-hmm.
found out she was cheating, et cetera, along the way. Now there was no apparent reason. I mean, everybody wanted to be like this couple. You'd look at them and
Right,
you think like, oh, Barbie and Ken, everything's great,
right,
fantastic.
right.
Here's the ending of this story. she's with someone now, and he showed me pictures, and I know what her dad, he had since passed away, what he looked like. Met him. She's with a man now, looks just like him.
Hmm.
She found dad again. She's with him.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
exactly
Yep.
what it is. And
Yep.
I don't want to say typical, textbook or whatever, but and I'm not qualified for any of that, but I just look at what's going on there. It's like, oh, okay. She did what happened in her relationship there, what happened in her childhood,
Yeah.
snap, ended everything. And now she's with somebody. She found somebody that looks just like him, like uncanny difference. If you see the
Yeah.
picture of this man and her father, it looks like, almost the same person. Same
Yeah.
person.
What I love about coaching is I'm not a therapist by training. What I love about coaching is we can use a lot of different resources, number one. And
Hmm.
as you start to peel back the onion in a sense,
Sure.
and you get to see this stuff. So, like we both said, a lot of this stuff is unconscious. We're unconsciously creating these situations.
True.
I had a girlfriend whose father was an alcoholic. And when the mother married the gentleman, she knew that he was an alcoholic, but they were very young in their early 20s. And of course, we all believe, oh, we can make this person change. Well, that didn't happen. And so they got a divorce. And then she married a man who was an alcoholic, but she didn't know he was an alcoholic. And then, of course, once they got together, this all started to come out. That relationship ended. Then she got into a relationship with a man who was not an alcoholic, but he became one after they got together. Come to find out that her grandfather was an alcoholic. So there was something in her that was calling forth this kind of dynamic.
Mm.
So it is interesting. It's interesting. And
Mm.
especially for people who are really challenged with finding a relationship, they need to go through some work to sort of make sure we don't fall into that same situation again. Because once you uncover it, it's profound. It's really profound. And it makes it so much easier to move into a relationship that you feel like, wow, this is great. I'm starting fresh. I feel like this is fresh.
Yeah.
This is the best experience I've ever had.
Spot on. And if I look back, I didn't realize that I could hire somebody like you to
Hmm.
help uncover these things,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
how did I figure this stuff out that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Over time.
Yes.
Probably could have saved a lot of time if somebody
Hmm.
like you said, hey, you know what? Tell me about, your past relationships. Tell me about your family dynamics. Tell me that. And you probably would have put it together in probably one session right there, and
Hmm.
started the beginning of new. And to your point, I'm very transparent. I'm going to tell you, I went through a period of time meeting women that had anxiety, high
Hmm.
levels of
Hmm.
anxiety.
Hmm.
Why are they showing up? I don't want to be the therapist.
Right,
What's
right,
going on
right.
here? And everybody's got anxiety. I get it, but
Of
this was
course,
definitely
of course.
elevated, and
Right.
whatever. And then I thought about it, and then it clicked in my head, and I think this is the answer. My mom had anxiety, and I never
Mm.
really realized it. Great relationship, no issues whatsoever. It was just a part of life. She was very overprotective when I was younger. But after she passed, and then I saw women with anxiety showing up, I'm like, what's going on? And I think it's because she had anxiety. How does that translate to me? Well, I guess maybe women would
Yeah.
pick up my vibration, that, oh,
Yes.
he can help me, he can nurture me. It's
Right.
it's a safe spot because he
Yeah.
knows I'm not even aware that I'm sending out that signal.
Yeah. Mary Morrissey, the person who founded the Brave Thinking Institute, that's separate from the Coaching Relationship Institute, has this saying that I absolutely love. And the saying is, you cannot get to your dream, you have to come from your dream. And let me
Hmm.
share really briefly how that
Please.
worked. I had a friend who was in her 40s. This was many years ago. And I understood this concept. I don't know how I understood this, but I understood this even before I ran into the Brave Thinking Institute. And I wanted her to live into what would it look like, feel like to be in a relationship. And she kept saying, I have no idea. And I said, okay, let's make up a person that you're in love with. Let's give him a name. And she couldn't think of anything. So finally she said, how about if we call him Clyde? I said, okay, let's call him Clyde. So I would send her an email or a call and just leave a voicemail saying, how are things going with you and Clyde? Like this was all made up, right?
Mm.
And she would laugh and so on and so forth. So one Valentine's Day, I sent her flowers to her office from
Mm.
Clyde. And she called me and she said, I fell out laughing when I got the flowers from Clyde because I knew they were from you. And she said, because I just couldn't even imagine that that would happen. And I decided then I'm going to stop working with her because if you can't imagine something, it's very hard to make it happen. And
Mm.
then fast forward after many, many, many years, she was with some friends and she was telling them about how she met this man in the park and they've connected and they're going out and this, that, and the other. And they were all like, oh my gosh, it's been 20 years. You haven't been in a relationship. And finally, after they end up telling this story, she said, that didn't really happen, but I'm envisioning it. I'm imagining it. And so they were like, well, that's kind of weird. But guess what? Steve, guess what? She's now in a relationship.
Wow. Wow.
She's now in a relationship.
So many different things we're talking about today, Kristina, from looking at traumas, manifesting. I can't believe we did it all in one podcast. I
I
don't think
know, it's
that's ever
amazing.
happened. Um, and to your point of the imagining, yeah, I've even had times where I've had a conversation in my car
Yeah,
with no one.
right.
Look at the
Exactly.
passenger seat as
Yes.
if that person that you want to come into your life is there, and
Yeah,
you're having that conversation. What would that be
absolutely.
like? Yeah, some time to kill, and I'm by myself. Like, yeah, and it's all about, like you said, the energy. How does that go? The energy goes, flows,
Oh, energy goes where attention
goes
goes
where
where
energy
energy
flows.
flows.
Right. I
Mhm.
have to tell you, Kristina, I knew you run deep in what you do. Um, didn't realize it today, and it's so wonderful. And also, I didn't realize until just a little while ago that you're also a certified relationship coach, all
Yes,
perfectly in line with a dream coach. They
correct.
they work hand
Correct.
in hand. How do we find you? How do we connect with you?
So I'm going to give you a couple of different ways. One is through my email. My email is create a life you love 13 at gmail.com. Create a life you love 13, my lucky number, at gmail.com. And a phone number is 202 630 0382 202 630 0382. And then I have a website also. It's called My Dreams Accomplished. That's with an ED at the end, mydreamsaccomplished.com. Yeah, I love it. I'm actually going to be launching next time we talk. I'm going to tell you about a program that I'm actually launching for folks 50 and older who want to be in a relationship. I'm going to start doing some sessions and I'm actually going to launch it on Valentine's Day.
Oh, all right. Look at
Yeah,
that.
exciting.
Fantastic. Well,
Exciting. Yeah.
I have to ask this question to even unrelated to anything we're talking about here. Um, in 10 seconds, tell me. In 13 seconds, tell me
Okay.
why is the number 13 lucky for you?
It's my birthday. And I was born on Friday the 13th, and it's been my good luck number ever since.
And thank you for that, because
Absolutely.
you see the positivity where the rest of us are looking, 13. I don't know about that number. I stay away from
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
wow.
But you know what, Steve, what I love, I got to say this real quick. This is a total transformation for me. I always saw the glass half empty most of my life. until I started investing in myself and doing real work on myself. And now I can honestly say I'm happy and at ease at my age, 72. I don't have a problem telling my age. I'm
Wow, good for you.
72. I'm in love again. And I'm really happy. And I want other people to be really happy. And so this is why I do what I do.
Love it. Love it. And would you say that once you figured all this stuff out that we're talking about, do you feel like, and I don't want to use a cliche, but it's the best description, like a new person?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel filled with joy, and I want other people, and I don't want them to have to wait until they get in their 70s
Yeah.
before they get this. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I said it before. I didn't know people like you exist. They did.
yeah,
I would have saved a lot of time, but everything's a lesson. I learned
absolutely.
a lot from you today, without a
Great.
doubt. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being here. Looking forward next time we talk.
Thank you, Steve. Take care.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.